All right.
So, anyways, tell me more about your years in Cardiff and just how it's changed your life and how much you love that city because it meant a lot to me.
Oh, for one thing, I mean, obviously, I got my education. Not in a million years did I think I'd be getting my master's degree before starting work, right? But just the friends and experience and the people we got to be so close with over there, and all the guys. And I mean, I know my last year or two with the baby and having Lachlan and married and not as social as I normally probably would have been. Um, and just it got better and better, right? Like the first couple of years I thought were great. We just after being in Italy and Germany, there wasn't any issues I didn't find. And but then the second 2 years when the new ownership came in, it was like, holy smokes, this is like a pro team all of a sudden. We're getting per diem and everything. Like I don't know where that came. Now we're flying to games. I couldn't believe that either. We're flying up to Scotland for games and stuff. That was a game changer. That just made you want to work hard. And I don't know what the term is for it,
It
but
made you feel like a pro. It made you feel like they're giving all this to us. We got to give this back
yeah,
to them. And that kind of was that first year with the new ownership was,
that was definitely like, and even both years, like I'm sure it's still like that there. Like they look after you and they don't question it, and it's just like I don't know. And obviously with Todd coming on and helping shore things up, like it's literally it's one of the easily the most professional team I've ever been on in Europe for sure, and more professional than most teams in the minors in North America. Like
oh, way
just
more.
made it that much better. And like you say, the whole time I was there, they were talking about a new rink. So I was there for 4 years, right from the beginning. Like, we're getting a new rink, we're getting a new rink, we're getting a new rink. I think I played like 3 games in that rink at the end of the year, like our second year there. But I wouldn't have changed it. I loved the tent. The tent ended up being like the greatest, one of the best places ever, because not only, I mean, it probably played into more my game a little bit too, but I mean, once you got used to it, it was the best home ice advantage ever. I've told the story 1,000 times of the first day we walk into that dressing room, and everybody has a story like that when they first time they see the dressing room. Like, you think it's like the practice rink or something, or you think it's like, oh, this isn't our dressing room. Like they're just like they're renovating our dressing room or something. But no, that's the dressing room. But it's amazing that you actually get used to it, and you're like, no, I don't mind it at all. Like, just just make it happen. And after the game, you throw your suit on, you wheel down to the bar, and you see 45 people that you love to see every game, and it was awesome. I still think about, like, people ask me now like what I miss about playing hockey and stuff, and the climbing on and off of the trainer's table to get stretched out and get your legs worked on because you feel like you're 1,000 years old. That I definitely don't miss. But one of the things I do miss is sitting in that dressing room in the tent and
Oh,
hearing them fire up the music and just hearing the people start stomping on the stands above your head. You feel like the whole place is going to come down.
there
You
was,
just you
oh,
just feel like a rock star flying out of that ice. Like, you're forgetting that it's the EIHL and you're making hundreds of pounds a week, and it's not the NHL that you dreamed of playing your whole life. But man, when you skate out there, that's pretty fun.
they really do make you feel special in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's that, like, yeah, to be honest, you're one of the early generation guys, kind of like myself, of the old arena. Like, I never played in the new arena, not one
No.
game. I
Yeah.
think I did a after practice shootout once, but that was about as far as I got. Um, but like the old rink, man, it was, as ridiculous as this sounds, it was my favorite arena I played in because
Mm-hmm.
the people that were in it, like, it was the fans and the crowd that were they were having as much fun as the players were. And like when we started winning, and then it
Oh,
went it like at the start of that year, I remember Todd being outside the arena while we're playing two touch before an exhibition game saying, giving out pieces of paper to fans saying, what do you want us to do differently this year? Just write down whatever you want. And he got his list of things fans wanted. And like to see what he did with that organization, and then just to see how much all of us just loved being there. And it didn't matter the arena, it didn't matter the dressing room, nothing mattered because of the people we had on that team. And then you have those fans, like you said, like you have a kid over there, and like I'd be going off at the end of a game, and a fan like you don't even know is dropping you presents from the crowd. And you're like, thank you. And like they've made like a wooden homemade Welsh spoon
the
for
love
your,
spoons.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just ridiculous.
I know. No, it's and that rink too, and the fans are right on top of you, and especially when we started winning. But even before that, you knew nobody wanted to come play in there. Like other teams, that was the worst trip they wanted to make. It was far for a lot of them. They did not want to play in that place. Like they weren't used to that, right? We saw that dressing room they had to get dressed in over there. That was terrible.
Oh, when there'd be a Dees would shit in the toilet or there'd be a dead rat in it.
Oh, oh, just
Yeah. But like, and then like for, I know you had your 2 years before with different owners, but like I'm talking, so my first year with you, they have to come into that tiny little rink. You got Hendo hip checking people. You got Batchy can throw them. You even fought Kevin Westgarth at one point we haven't discussed yet. But then you got Jesse Mitch and Lordo. You got like Dougie Clarkson. Like there were
yeah.
so many guys that could chuck them. I felt like I could do whatever the hell I wanted.
You pretty much could.
And I did.
Yeah.
I remember the one game I dumped it into the same corner 3 times for fun and just ran a guy and jumped out. But man, and yeah, buried a guy after I scored a goal just for fun, and there's nothing they could do about it. I'd be
No.
like, look at all my big brothers here.
Yeah, we had some big guys.
That was a fun year.
Mind you, there's some pretty scary guys in that league too.
Well, well, it was
They
after
really,
that year. It really was. I think it was like Hendo said. Hendo told me when we were raced this podcast that after that year, when we kind of bullied the other teams,
yeah,
especially when they'd show up at our rink, that
yeah,
the next year was when all the big boys came. To
yeah.
every team had one big boy, right?
Well, I mean, that was kind of the case for quite a few years. There was always some guy coming over, like some big tough guy that was signing and coming over at some point. But yeah, I felt like there was a little bit of a shift there too. But like I remember even telling Lordo that first year that we realized we were pretty good, but we were still in that rink. I was like, I told him I thought those were our best year, like best chances to win because we had that rink and that home ice advantage. I'm like, we get going and we get another rink just like everybody else, then every team just doesn't care to come play there. They think it's just fine, you know. Whereas
Yeah, it is
coming into
different.
that barn, they just wanted to go home.
Well, I don't would ever never want to talk negatively about new arenas on here, but I'm sure they bring in more people and there's more tickets sold and more merchandise. But geez, the big blue tent, that was living back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah, that was living.
that was
Um,
living.
okay, well, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a little different direction now. So as I said, our 2 years were basically the same. Same 2 years was we did the MBA. We had kids. Then we both decided to come back for another year. And as we've said, we were both feeling fit and in shape after the gag ball and all our fun with that. And Lordos treating me like he did, you know. But
Oh,
I was pretty well yoked, as the kids would say. But I get injured first preseason game, struggle through a few games, and then I'm done. But I think I'm gonna have to bring it up there, Tyson. I'm gonna have to, because what pissed me off one day was listening to Spit and Chicklets, and he didn't even know your name. And they asked, he was talking about something. I don't know if you listened to it, but he
no.
said, "Oh yeah, I knocked some guy out in the UK," and just something like that. And I was like, "Well, that's Tyson Marsh. That's my buddy." And that you don't know his name, that really fucking, I swore on the podcast. That really bothered me when he said it like that, because if I did that to someone, I'd know exactly who it was. And anyways, it was a tough time after that. So you did have to fight him because you body checked a guy hard, which was a clean hit. Then he was vulnerable. But tell us that story.
Well, first of all, I don't blame him. The guy played forever in the NHL and then comes over to the UK. Like,
And that's his job, right?
I don't. That doesn't bother me. I don't think he means anything by that. There's a lot of people I don't remember their names either. So, but no, it's talked about it before. It was just unlucky, and I'm more mad at myself than anything. Like, first of all, the check that I got suspended for, um, probably obviously I shouldn't have hit the guy either. Like, I was back checking full tilt and laid a shoulder into him, but it's a different game now. We can't be doing that, right? And it was just a bad timing, and he kind of dropped at the same time, and I put all my weight into him, and now obviously I know all about the head injuries and stuff going on too. So I mean, funny enough, there was that Shifley hit last night that reminded me a little bit of it. But anyway, long story short, I think the part that made it worse was that I got the suspension, which they threw a ton of games at me.
I don't remember you being suspended that.
So they gave me 5 games just because
Really?
it looked bad.
See,
And
like
then
when I saw it happen live, I didn't watch all the stuff, but when I saw it happen live, it was a guy that cut into the middle with his head down trying to score a goal. And you got a guy coming back checking. And if you don't hit that guy, you're not playing the rest of the night because your coach is going to be pissed off. So,
well, that
and
was our first few years pro, and then this is 10 years later when things were a little different. So
when you can cut into the middle with your head down and shoot it.
yeah,
Okay.
but no, obviously I never would intend to hurt somebody, and that whole side of it is I'm definitely wasn't meaning to hurt him at all, but because it looked bad, and so they automatically gave me 5 games, and then Lordo and Todd appealed it for me, and Lordo and Todd broke down the tape, and we had a little hearing and everything, and they showed that I led with my shoulder, and they showed that he kind of just dipped right at the last second, and so anyway, after the hearing, they determined, okay, you've served 2 games, that's good. Like, and they just reduced it to 2 games. So of course, that just turned the whole thing into a way bigger deal than it was. And so it was literally like a week later, 2 weeks later, we go back up to Nottingham, and I'm thinking on the way up there, I'm probably gonna have to fight him because I'm like, it's just gonna happen. So I was prepared for it anyway. And my first shift of the game, as soon as I touched the puck, a whole crowd in Nottingham was booing, like Chara gets booed and different, like used to get booed in rinks. Like it was bananas. Like, and that's a big rink with a lot of people, so that kind of took me a little off guard. But so my adrenaline's kind of pumping. Like, go for my second shift. Here comes Jansen. I'm like, let's just get it over with.
I remember
know?
you saying to me he was barking at you as like the whole time, like, we're doing this, and you were like, well, if we're doing it, let's just do it.
No, he just came right over to me that shift. And he didn't jump me or anything. Like, that's his job. He came over.
Yeah.
He's like, let's go. Said, let's get this over with. And literally, I am thinking back to my Brandon Sugden fight where I'm going to hang on for dear life, grab him and go to the ground. Similar to the Westgarth fight, I lived that through that because I just grabbed onto him and didn't really do anything. And I held on and bear hugged, and then we rolled around and went to the ground and lived to see another day. So that was my plan. Squaring off, I'm like, I was going to grab on, I have no business fighting this guy. And then I woke up in the dressing room talking to Franny and him trying to explain to me what the hell just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I watched it. Obviously, I saw the tape several times after. I can't believe I don't. It's totally my fault. Like I'm swinging. I'm just like going toe to toe with him like an idiot. Like don't ask me what the hell I did. He must have hit me with one first, and
No, I think you went to grab him, like you missed him, but like you weren't holding on to him and you guys just were swinging and he hit you with one. And
I know that was the stupidest thing I could have done ever. Like
yeah.
that's all on me. But the tough part was I didn't think I'd ever had a concussion before. Like I'd never had one diagnosed. And so
Diagnosed, yeah. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
I didn't think so.
Diagnosed back
So
in our day.
now knowing what we know now, I probably had a few, but you just didn't know you had one. And yeah, the frustrating part was just being basically wrecked my year. Like I was out for like months, and I thought it'd be 2-3 weeks and back. And Bob's your uncle. That's pretty much the career. The one thing I have to say, I see it all the time where I'll see stuff written here and there, and it's like, oh, like Marsh had to retire because he got knocked out. Like I was retiring anyway. Like that wasn't why. Like that was my last year, just to go and have fun one more year, and then I was retiring. Like that wasn't the
No,
reason
I
why.
actually thought it was really awesome that you did make it back that year. It was hard for me because I was so close with you, the like through the time, and then when that happened, it's like you don't really know how to reach out. You don't really know what to say to people when they're hurt, and like especially with the head concussions and like a guy sitting at home and you hear like you don't know, there's lots of different stories, but like there's the guys that can't turn on the TV, can't look at a
Mhm.
phone, and you're like, well, do I text them? I can't really go
Yeah,
over there and see them, and it's like, what do I do? Like I want to be a friend, but you're like, I don't even know what to do, right?
yeah, that's tough. No, toughest thing to be honest, never really had bad headaches or anything. It was just my my eyes just started bugging me whenever I do stuff. Like my eyes would kind of get sore, and so that's what made me think I was still like really concussed. But long story short, but again, back to the unreal owners we had, like in Todd, Lordo recommended the guy that he sees in Vancouver, and they flew me to Vancouver. Like you
Where
can believe that. They paid for the whole thing, put me up in a hotel for a week in Vancouver to go see this guy for like a whole week straight
that was during the season, right?
during the season. It was like February. So flew from London all the way to Vancouver, go see this guy for a week, and flew back. And this guy, like he was unbelievable. Like he's probably retired now because he was getting close to retirement then. But he worked on all kinds of guys in the NHL and stuff. He he figured out quickly. He's like, oh, it's all in your neck. He's like, you're not even concussed anymore. You're over your concussion probably within a couple of weeks. It's like all your neck's buggered up. And he worked on my neck for a couple of weeks, and my eyes felt better right away. So I was like, boom, I'm ready to go. But then, of course, you're nervous. You're thinking, okay, like maybe I got to be careful here. So it's still like kind of eased myself back in. But lucky enough, things are okay. I didn't have to retire. You know,
Yeah. So everything's fine there. You're good now.
good to go. Obviously, I
Perfect.
don't want to go like get knocked out again.
Well, I don't think in our day-to-day life now we're gonna go fight
Hope
Cam
not.
Jansen.
No, no, I don't think I'll be
I
doing that
I
again.
know I haven't thrown any fisticuffs in the last few months, but yeah, I just don't see it in our future. Cam Jansen trying to fight us. It was a different life we used to live, right?
Yeah. The funny part now is I don't know. I still kind of chuckle because like now and I live a totally different life. Like right, like
Totally different.
it's and what I find so funny is like, and which I'm fine with, but like you go, everybody in your I sit with at work, like some people know I used to play hockey, some people don't know I used to play hockey. Like it's kind of, and guys they'll bring up hockey players and they'll talk about this guy and that guy, and or they'll talk about Carlo Koliakovo, who's on the radio now here all the time. He's on every day. He's on TSN. He's awesome. He's on every morning. So I hear him every morning, and people will be talking about him, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, yeah, I used to play with him. A little different background than the rest of you guys, but then so Carlo, because he played in St. Louis, he knows Cam Jansen really well, so he has him on the show all the time. Like, I think he comes on like once a week in the morning. So like once a week, I'm on my way driving to work, and
you gotta listen to him. Good gosh,
he's good. He's funny and stuff. It just takes you back.
Sure. Well, maybe this is your first step towards 2 L's and hockey tales instead of listening to that garbage and Cam Jansen.
Yeah, there you go.
Now you can support the pod on your drive to work, eh?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think. I don't know, like, if we got anything else. Like, we've talked about basically everything, like the ownership change in Cardiff, us doing Gag Balls together, your whole journey. Do you got anything else for me before we shut down the episode here?
I want to know what's new with you. What's new with Wally?
With me?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I want to know. I'm sure you've told us.
That's after hours recording, so that's nothing. These pods aren't about me. I'll tell you what's going on after hours.
Things are good. We're like you say, it's just it's like a totally different life all of a sudden. Like you do one thing for forever, and that's all you ever want to do, and
then it switches like that.
And it switches.
And we did it at the same time together. And I remember we do a couple feeler texts like every 6 months, like, you okay?
Well, at the same time, we were both trying to get jobs.
Figure
out what the hell we're gonna do with our lives. You got a job yet? Nope, me either.
Not working for a carpenter for cash. Yeah, no, I did learn how to build tables to the point where I did sell a couple.
Attaboy.
Yeah, a couple shelves too. I was a woodworker there for a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, then what's new with me is just the kids. This is actually what's new. I feel like I'm back. Like you said, you're in a completely different life, a completely different thing. And I've really struggled with it. I found it for a little bit, but kind of with the Ripley Wolves, but I didn't actually want to play the games. I didn't actually want to get hit. I didn't want to play hockey. This is kind of like, I guess I've found like Wally again, because I just feel better. I'm happier. I'm talking to hockey guys again. I feel like I'm back in the game, but I also can do my normal job, and I just do this at night, and I figured out how to be efficient with it, that it doesn't take up too much time. I just need to go on, chat with you fellas. I'm not going to tell everybody. I'm not going to tell everybody how to do it, because then everybody else will do it. But anyways,
not everybody can do it like you.
Well, I learned how to be efficient with it, that it's not taking up that much time. But like, it's like tonight, like the kids went to bed and I was like, well, what am I going to do? Watch an NHL playoff game that I actually don't care who's going to win? Or do I get on and get to know Tyson Marsh even more than I already knew him? But now this is documented for your kids, for your wife. Like, now they know the whole story. And I don't know. I really like it.
It's awesome, buddy. No, you're totally true, because you feel like you're just dad all the time. You're not Wally anymore. You're just dad, which is great. And it has obviously amazing parts to it as well. You're not the
same.
You don't have that time to be yourself and just hang out with your own friends, and obviously right now makes it even worse. Like, and I know a lot of people are struggling now, especially like this is not helping anybody. So
no, and that's
awesome.
It's just nobody's having fun with everything that's going on, but like sorry folks, I didn't mean to say that. Didn't mean to rub it in. I did not mean to rub it in, but like I got to catch up with Tyson Marsh tonight, and I didn't text him until like it was after lunch, and I'm like,
Yeah, thanks for the
I
heads up. That was
well,
great.
yeah, and that's what you said. You're like, thanks, but no thanks. And I'm like, I need you, Tyson. I need you. I need you because we're gonna break the record this week. We only need 3 if we got Tyson Marsh, the captain of the team that turned it all around. That's all I needed. And I think this week, you know what? If we go back to back to back jacks with all devils, who knows if Spitting Chicklets will be number 1 next week? We don't know. We're gonna need the Cardiff Devils to decide that. The fans that were in the big blue tent back in the day with us, right? When you know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah, it's like I'm there right now.
Dude, seriously, doesn't it bring you back in time to like think about this stuff? Like you do start living a different life and you don't talk about it. And like it's like you say, the guys in the cubicle next door, and you're like, well, I want to tell them about it, but like I don't want to sound ridiculous, but
Hmm.
like I don't really think I should say everything I've done or talk about it. So you know what? I'm just gonna go to my shed and have a podcast so I can talk about it.
Yeah, it's pretty much bang on.
No, I was doing the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's hard to like when you've experienced some things and you're like, oh, I've seen that or I've done that. You're like, oh, I should just shush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that guy that's telling stories all day and trying to act like I'm big shot because I'm absolutely not that.
I
Sitting in
totally
this
know.
sitting in the same cubicle as that guy. So what does it matter?
We're all sitting here together. Yeah, it's just experiences we were lucky enough to have because we got the opportunity, right? And
Yeah.
like it's I don't know. I think it's really cool we got to talk about this and it's documented now. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. Like I do miss you, dude. And I miss those days. I miss going to the Met with you. I miss Hoth. I miss our time together. Like the whole time is just like life keeps going and you start getting into different things and you do different things and then you got different friends and you're doing different things and it's like, well, I had a lot of special times in my life and my time with you was special, man. I really enjoyed it.
I miss it too, buddy. And I appreciate it. I know exactly what you mean. It feels like yesterday and you just feel like you're right back there. What's funny is you were saying that is like I think I feel like us back playing in Cardiff was like last year. But then I think of my first year working my new job. I feel like that was 1,000 years. I feel it was forever ago. But
I
playing hockey just feels like it was yesterday. Like
it
weird
is
that way.
it is weird, like, yeah, like I've for how much I've learned and what I'm doing at work is absurd. But like you just keep learning each day and you're getting into different things and you're not just going to practice every day and strapping on the gag ball and trying to be in shape. You're learning about different things and doing different things. It's just life is different now. We got more shit cooking.
No, and it's just I talk about with my other friends everywhere. Anytime I do actually get to talk to them, which is very rare, but just it's you lose touch. Like it's so hard when you're so busy with everything you've got going on a day-to-day basis. It's hard to like you feel like you wake up, you're like, I haven't talked to anybody in like 6 months. Like I hope they still think we're friends. Like, like
Then you
I
start a
hope
podcast.
I hope they don't think I don't like them anymore or something. I'm just you're in the grind. And it was, I think it was Mac Faulkner's dad told us some really good advice one time, and he was just like, when we first had kids, like our firstborns, and he's like, don't get don't get too frustrated about this time in your life. He's like, this is your grind. It's like this is one of the hardest times in your life. You're just starting out in your careers, trying to work hard and extend your career, and you have young kids at home. And he's like, no other time in your life is harder than this right now. So don't beat yourself up about, you know, not keeping in touch with people because everybody's in the same boat.
Well, and like look at the thing is not keeping in touch is one thing. We're all busy. We all got a lot going on. Um, But the thing is like doing this, none of us change, man. We're all the same. This is just like we're sitting at the Met. What that's a 7 6 7 years ago now, I guess. I
There's
don't know.
no, is it really?
Is it? I don't, it's
Yeah.
2014, 15. So
Well,
we were
this is the,
masters of business in 2015, sir.
oh my goodness, this is the 5th year. Was this the 5th winter we weren't playing, right?
Something like that. But like it just all happens fast, man. When I look
Yeah.
at pictures of the kids when them in Cardiff, it's like, wow, this is nuts. And it just all is happening so fast. And you get into this new world and this new life, and it's like everything you did before, it's like it never even really happened. It's all just in your brain.
Yeah.
And now I got it documented for all my friends that like if their kids grow up someday and they're like, I want to hear like what my dad did. And I'm like, I got that for you. 2 ales and hockey tales. All right, Lachlan,
awesome,
you know,
I think it's
Lachlan,
awesome.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah. No, it's awesome idea. As soon as I heard you were doing it, I was like, I don't have the energy to pull that off and do it all regularly, but I'm like, you will be fantastic at it.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing the best I can. I don't know. I'm just talking to my friends, and if people want to listen, they can. But apparently people are into
That's what
it.
makes it good, though. You're not trying to be somebody you're not.
Well, apparently, my friends are interesting, which I knew they were. Cause like, look at your life and look at what you're doing now and like everything you went through to get there and to get your education when you're, I guess what you'd call a major junior player that signed younger, and probably like most guys that age, if you're signing an NHL contract before 18, they're never even thinking about finishing school and whatnot. But you know what, dude, I am really proud of you for doing what you did. And then now you have your MBA in project management. And you know what? We did it together and it was fun and we made it fun. And working hard like that and getting shit done, it can be however you want to look at it. You want it to be miserable and act like your job sucks and everything you do is too busy, or do you have fun when you go to class and do the papers and do all the stuff? Like we had fun when we did it, right? We made it fun.
It was awesome. I'd go back in a heartbeat. Just go right and do it over again.
Double MBA, is that a thing? I don't think they'll sign us anymore, Tyson. Their new players are a little better than us.
They're looking pretty good.
The resumes are a little different than ours, but hey, we got in there when we did.
We got in and out.
All right, and that has been another episode of 2 Ales and Hockey Tales with Masters of Business Tyson Marsh.